Looking for help with course design and installations? A new disc or other accessories for your game? Well, OzDiscs has a huge range of all disc golf equipment in stock. 5% of each sale goes back to support your local club through their rewards program. Also, did we mention they have next day shipping? Well, jump online and check out OzDiscs now at www.ozdiscs.com.au. For over 10 years, the Flying Disc Store has stocked Australia's largest range of flying disc products. From disc golf discs and bags to ultimate frisbees, throw and catch discs and dog discs, the Flying Disc Store has everything you need. As part of our support of the Tee-Off, the Flying Disc Store would like to provide Tee-Off listeners with 5% off any purchase in the store. Just use the code TEEOFF5 when checking out to get your discount. Visit www.flyingdiscstore.com.au today to grab a deal. And if you have any questions, be sure to contact their friendly staff. And welcome back to the Tee-Off, an Australian podcast about the awesome sport of disc golf. My name is Paddy Robinson. This is episode 80. We're 80. How good's that? There we go. And in the booth, I've got Timmy Bowen.
Hey, Paddy. How you doing?
I'm pretty good, mate. And no Fergie, because he has, dinner?
I think he's got dinner.
He's got dinner.
That's the excuse he dropped on us.
So we managed to drag him out of, you have a pretty early dinner, but Cam Ford in the house.
I'm 4 burritos deep for my dinner. So
is that what that noises, smell is, mate? Sorry, Jesus Christ. You hit GYG just opened up down the road from me, didn't you? You just went straight there, $10 burrito Tuesdays.
I now know that.
It's Monday.
So is that a thing? Tell Cat we're having burritos tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, mate, when they opened, they did $5 burritos, and that line, that caused so many accidents, seriously. Anyway. All right. So, yeah, episode 80. I didn't really get the response I wanted there, boys, but yeah, thanks.
Let us know when we're up to triple digits, eh?
All right. No worries. See you in 3 years. But yes, straight out players meeting. We're going to get Chris Finn on the phone a little bit later, which will be cool. Hear about the Aussie Masters. We've got some news to recap. There's been a couple of big things happen in the Disc Golf Pro Tour, so we won't go too hard into it, but I'm keen to hear some thoughts on that, fellas, aka Foot Fault Gate. Bit of Aussie stuff, and we've got a couple of games, a couple of questions, but Timmy, I know it's your favourite thing. I do have something for you. I saw this. It's not a disc golf tip of the week, but it kind of is. And I know this is your favourite thing that I do on here, and I'm not changing it. But I saw this on Reddit, and it's called the Rotella Rules, and it's actually a golf pro that comes in, and it got cross-posted disc golf. And I don't mind it. There's some interesting things, but I want to read each one out. It's going to take at least 35 minutes, and I want to hear an in-depth reflection on each point, Tim.
Players meeting and Reddit, my two favourite things. Let's go.
Okay. It'll be quick, I promise. Don't skip this. On the first tee, a golfer must expect only two things: to have fun and to focus on their mind properly on every shot. Or to focus their mind properly on every shot. Do you do those two things, Tim?
Oh, I try. My focus is horrible at best. And I've never had fun. Never.
Okay. Yep. All right. We're off to a good start. Before playing any shot, a golfer must lock their eyes and mind into the smallest possible target.
Okay. Do I do that? No. I'm trying to think. I'm generally thinking like right foot in front of the left and then like throw the disc where I'm aiming.
That's the same rules for when Cam goes to the toilet. Next point, golfers cannot let the first few holes, shots or putts determine their thinking for the rest of the round.
That is so opposite to what I do. If I birdie that first hole, we're in for a good day. If I stuff up that first hole, particularly if I miss the putt, forget about it. Give me 9-10 rating or 9-30 rating, and I'll just walk out.
I love that one
as well.
It is more important to be decisive than to be correct when preparing to play a shot, particularly a putt.
Decisive or correct?
So, yeah, I'm going to, you're deciding to do this.
Yeah, I think I'm actually pretty good at that. You know, you got to accept, like a death putt. If you're going to run it, run it. If you're not going to run it, don't run it. Just don't do that half run, half layup sort of thing. Yeah.
I like that one. This one hurts. Attitude makes a great putter.
Attitude? I reckon good night's sleep makes good putting. If you're well rested, you can help keep your attitude in check. So I don't mind that one.
Attitude makes a great putter.
I reckon sleep correlates with attitude. Yeah. So take it.
There is a correlation
sleep.
there. I'm sure. Acceptance is critical after a bad shot. An angry player can't really execute a pre-shot mental routine. Yep, I'll accept that.
I don't know. Sometimes it's good to get angry out there, I reckon.
Yeah.
Except, I guess it's tough with your Prodigy, though, because they do snap in half pretty quick.
I've got the rubbery putters now. I feel like if you're angry and also there's like a long wait between you and next shot, that's the worst part.
Yeah. I think
nothing wrong with like getting angry at a bad shot and then like wanting to redeem yourself quickly.
Concentrating. Yeah. A golfer cannot score as well as possible if they are thinking about swing mechanics as they play.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Nearly all golfers would be better off if they forgot about the score as they played.
Yeah,
maybe in casual sort of stuff. Like just going down to deacon and throwing. Probably
I don't know.
Better to not score.
It's probably not a bad idea. In a tourney, I feel like even if you're not looking at the scores, you've got a good idea of where you're sitting based on how you're playing. So I don't know.
And the last one. There is no such thing as a golfer playing over their head. A hot streak is simply a glimpse of a golfer's true potential.
That first round at Melbourne celebrates. That's I don't mind that. Thanks, Reddit.
All right. I thought there were some good ones there. All right. Let's get straight into some news.
What's news around the world, around Australia? What's news? What's happened and who's spoken?
All right, Timmy, what's been happening?
Look, we're not going to spend too much time on these things because they have happened in the last couple of weeks, but we do need to talk about the Champions Cup and Isaac Robinson, who just won his 4th major in 2 years, boys.
Yeah, didn't I tip him?
I think you tipped Dave Perry upon listening back.
That's a pretty solid tip, actually.
Yeah. Not a bad tip.
Not a bad tip.
But listen to this. Isaac Robinson, he's won 4 out of the last 9 majors, and only 5 players have now won more majors than him. And they are Ken Climo, Paul McBeth, Ricky Wysocki, Dave Feldberg, and Barry Schultz.
Yeah.
So this guy's like, I don't know how old he is, 23, 24 still. Yeah. And like he's on track to be one of the greatest players of all time, if not that already.
Yeah, and like first like major win with the Latitude discs, like maybe that monkey's off the back a little bit. You know, he hasn't had. I don't even know how close he's been to the top 10, but then comes out and wins the first major. Like that's pretty sick.
Yeah. I just feel like
classic Robbo.
We've watched like Eagle just do things that we didn't think were possible with a disc. Then we've watched the emergence of Gannon Burr and Anthony Barella, and we kind of forget that like Isaac's probably on paper better than all of them.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have a forehand. It's amazing. But rounding out the top 3 were Andrew Marweed and Gannon Burr, so they did pretty well there. Just has to be said, Paul McBeth properly choked. This is probably the worst choking that I've seen in a long time, at least since Silver Saarinen.
I feel it's that night's sleep. I feel he had a great night's sleep the first day, and then just 3 days.
You're probably right, Cam. That's the thing. You're probably right. So he shot a record.
It's about attitude, Paul McBeth.
His attitude was bad. So his attitude was bad. I think he went like 5 over on the last few holes. But look, he shot 14 down in the first round. It was almost 1100 rated. It was 1097. And then he finished 15 down. So 14 down in the first round, and then he went 1 down for the rest of the tournament.
I got a bit worried about him coming out and shooting that because, like, you know, when in the majors and the worlds and sort of stuff, Paul's always been like about 5th or 6th. Like he's maybe been about that 3 to 5 shots off the lead, and then he builds, and then shooting the 14. I was like,
an interesting card on the second round too. He had a few not unknowns, but you don't have your birds or anything. I kind of competing against you, and no one really played really well that second round. So kind of an interesting card to play in.
Yeah.
Compared to the other field.
Yeah.
And then he had Ricky to like spur him on, but it just didn't work out. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we kind of mentioned him as well, but like Dave Perry getting out there, shooting a pretty solid first round.
Yeah, it was a red hot first round, 10 something rated, and I think he was in like middle of the pack or in the top 50 at least.
Yeah, and I mean like dropped 7 strokes in the second and only 1 in the third, I think. But it was pretty awesome. We must try and get him on the next pod and hear about the experience. Maybe try and get him in the booth as well. But pretty awesome.
Very fun first card he had as well with a few big names.
Yeah, Ezra Outerhold. I can't remember the other two, but yeah, a couple of big names on there.
Yeah, I wonder if Ezra was watching the Peaches and thinking, geez, this boy squats.
This guy squats. Now, on the FPO side of things, we saw Big Money Missy get a win over Kristen Latt and Paige Pierce in the top 3. So, good return to form from Paige.
Robbed,
you reckon?
Robbed.
I've got 2 notables. The most notable thing, everybody saw it, was that Missy wore money sign earrings in round 3. Very swag. She
pretty cool.
Owned the big money. And apparently there was a foot fault.
Yeah.
Was there? That didn't make any form of disc golf.
I think the only controversial.
Kristen was actually wearing yellow pants.
I mean, she was dressed for the occasion for a viral shot to go viral. But look, I think the only controversy is the fact that someone called a foot fault. Amazing. It's huge news.
It's got to be the first and only foot fault of 2025. So.
Let's be real though. If she was wearing her shoes a bit more snugly, that wouldn't have been a foot fault. And we look at old Gumboots Marweed, who basically clomped on his disc and got away with it in the last round.
I mean, we talked briefly about this during our little fun round the other day, and I think you made a good point. You can't be like, well, Marweed got away with it, so should Kristen. No, like they both need to be called. They both need to be, unfortunately, like it's there. It's on footage. They saw it. Maybe a little bit about a marshal calling it and not being 100% over the way the rule is. Because she asked him if he saw when she released the disc, and he said no. And he was like, well, that's not really.
He sounds like he'd be a pretty good worker at the post office, that bloke. Fair dinkum. But anyway.
My mum works in the post office too.
And she's lovely, Paddy, I'm sure.
Anyway, it's been talked about, but it's we would like to see it obviously called more.
Yeah, I think it's call one or call all. I think it's you can't have both.
I say call as many as you see. So I don't say like, oh, you shouldn't call Kristen's because you didn't call Marweeds. You should call Kristen's, and you should also call Marweeds if you can see it.
Yeah, fair. Anyway.
But yeah, I think just do away with the marshals, do away with the player self-adjudicating, and just go off the YouTube live stream comments. If someone can call it out on YouTube, then lock it in. Stroke.
Is that what disc golf needs? Did we just fix it? Like video umpires?
Yeah. I like it. Just a phone next to them the whole time.
That's it.
Just really.
Look at the feed.
Just all the neck beard.
Anyway, moving on.
All right.
We had this one sort of slid under the radar. The Santa Cruz Masters Cup, hosted by Top World Disc Golf and sponsored by GGA. It's a Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Terrible name.
Shocking. I
Terrible
haven't even finished the name. There's still more name. The end of the name is Disc Golf Pro Tour Q Series.
Yeah, what does Q Series mean? Do you know?
I don't know, Cam. What the fuck is Q Series? Bleep that out, please, Paddy. But what?
No.
What on earth? What on earth?
Trash.
We've got Elite, then we've got Elite Plus, and then we go to Q. Explain that.
Feels like an
Anyway.
iPhone. This is getting ridiculous.
I just want to point out, this wasn't aired anywhere except it's now getting some post-produced coverage on Top World Disc Golf YouTube channel. Round 2 dropped today, and I would have loved for them to drop round 3 because Gannon Burr won in a playoff over Nicholas Antela, and I have no idea how it went down. That score is not posted anywhere. I don't know how many holes it was. I don't know how he won it with a birdie or a par or what.
Yeah.
But Gannon won in a playoff over Nicholas Antela, and in FPO, Owen Scoggins beat Hannah Hun. I don't know if that's how you say her last name, but smashed her.
There's something like I've been lucky enough to be over there and play Daylar, and we used to watch the Masters Cup every year.
Taylor's sick, mate.
And
I would have loved to have seen that coverage.
I think this is in the same boat of USDGC. It just, Santa Cruz has just something about it that's just got this long history. Like, it's all par threes. The course is like, it's a little bit jank, but at the same time, it's insane. It's got kind of like a bit of everything. And you see these guys get daylight. Like, if any Aussies are listening, you played Poimina. Like, there's just something so tickling when you see your mates just roll all the way down the hill.
Hell yeah.
How good is it seeing Gannon Burr roll like...
Yeah, I'm not sure about you, but I think like Central Coast Disc Golf used to always post those kind of rounds, and I just remember Daylight being a standout in my head.
It was like iconic. It was like one of those ones that you waited for to watch, and let's sit down and watch people get daylight. A little bit disappointing this isn't a bigger event, but super cool to see that these guys go out. And you said that there's a little bit of footage out there, Tim.
Yeah, Top World Disc Golf YouTube channel. Check it out, round 3, and we'll find out how that playoff went down.
Maybe it wasn't supported within the Disc Golf Pro Tour app because the name was so long. So
that's why. That's really why.
Maybe they shortened it up.
Cam just coming on talking truths. There you go.
There's one more event, the Tim Selinsky United States Masters Championship presented by Innova, the inferior Masters event, because of course the Aussie one went down this weekend as well. That one, we had Nate Sexton.
Are we covering Pro Masters too? Jeez, look at us. We're branching out.
Oh, it's just because it's Sexton. He had a two-shot win over Paul Oman and Kale Leviska.
Yeah,
and
nice.
in FPO, Jen Allen won by about 40 shots over Lisa Fakis. So
there you go.
There we go.
Nice
Next
one.
up, we have the Discraft Cascade Challenge, and all the big dogs are playing. I'm actually tipping Macbeth. He's going to be angry. He's going to hopefully get a good night's sleep. And
attitude, Paul Macbeth. Here's some advice from the other side of the world. Attitude.
Just get angry.
I'll send him another Instagram message. He hasn't responded to mine.
Slide into his DMs. I'm going to say Ezra Robinson.
Ooh, stepping out of his brother's shadow from this week.
And Cam, you've got no idea who's on the list. Just say a name.
Burr.
Gannon Burr. Has he had a win this year, Gannon? He has, is that right?
I feel like we just talked about him having a win.
Yeah, he just won the Q series. I meant like an actual series.
Yeah.
Like a series that's in the first half of the alphabet.
He won a T challenge the other day.
Look, that's a good tip. So
All right.
Macbeth, Ezra, and Gannon.
Where is that? Sorry, I missed.
It's a good question.
I only thought if you.
It's in Shelton, Washington.
That doesn't help me. I shouldn't have asked.
Yeah, you know Shelton. You know the Shelton Disc Golf Course.
Sorry, Shelton. Sorry. Yes. Yeah.
All right, moving on. We had a pretty big event. I'm going to recap it. The Aussie Masters, the first in history. Shout out Jeff Brunsting, Ask TD, Anthony Pearsall, getting on. Starting a bit of history and starting what seems to be a pretty fun event and probably going to be happening further and further down.
With some juicy fat payouts, mind you. Fat payouts. Mate.
A pro purse of $1,200.
Look at the cash on offer. There's 6 players in MP40 and the winner took home a clean 500.
Ooh.
You take that, mate.
Very solid. So in the MP40, winner Chris Finn. We're going to get him on the pod soon because I really want to hear what happened with Simon Feasey, who is 999 rated. That's pretty solid for a Simon, honestly. He's like... I feel like Simon's over 50, I think.
He's held that rating up high for a very long time. Yeah.
Yeah, good on you, Simo. He obviously doesn't play Inverleigh league days. But in the MP50, shout out Geelong's own Chris Hart takes a win with the, 5 strokes over Matt Wallace. MP70, that's right. There's an MP70. Bob Gentle from New Zealand. Now, have you guys ever heard about Bob Gentle?
Never.
Nah, all right. He is one of the OGs.
Love it.
Absolute OGs.
His name sounds like genitals, just saying.
Yeah.
8505 PDGA.
Yeah, and he's one of the loveliest guys getting around. So good to see Bob get a win. MA40, Charles Duplessis gets a win by 1 stroke over Brad Turner and Claire Haas. Very nice. Then we filtered out. That's a big field, by the way, in the MA40. 29 people.
Massive.
And a tight finish, 1 shot. That's a good win for Charles. I think he was shooting tidily above his rating, so well done.
Yeah, shout out to Huss there too. That's pretty solid. And tied for second. In the FA40, Kim Mitchell gets a win by 3 strokes over Joanne McCamish. MA50 was Josh Conroy with a comfortable 5 strokes over John Cranston. MA55, Kerry Edwards gets a... Oh, is he bagging a bit there? Yeah, I'm going to say you're bagging a bit there, Kerry Edwards. But yeah, gets a very solid 9-stroke win over Dave Eames. FA55, Sue Donnelly gets a win over Tanya Behan. MA60, Andrew Wisniewski. Andrew Wisniewski's in
winning
MA60.
a bit. He's winning a bit.
1 stroke over Mike Cansey. FA60, Brenda Ryan gets a win against herself. MA65, Nicholas Hall, 12 strokes over Tim Jolly. And FA70 was Gail Lynch over Julianne Jolly. So
shout out to all those freshly crowned Aussie Masters.
Very, very solid. And it's nice to see that we actually have a bit of depth in our age groups. I didn't know we went up to that. How good's that?
It's awesome stuff.
Yeah, it's good to see a Hart actually finish a tournament and play well. So
Shots fired. We're going to roll over to WA for the next one. We've got the Mandalorian, May the 4th. That is cringe. I don't know why we're having Star Wars references in the titles of our disc golf tournaments. Paddy.
May the 4th. Mate, that's better than anything else out there.
Is that literally just because May the 4th sounds like May the Force?
Yes.
That's a thing now.
Star Wars Day, mate.
that's been a thing for a very long time.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just going to put it straight out there. Star Wars is the second most overrated thing behind Harry Potter. And this is coming from I'm a massive nerd.
Just
Lord of the Rings
cancel
is the best
him.
thing
Yeah,
ever.
cancel Tim. It's
Those
fine.
2 things, though, Jesus Christ. Anyway, let's move on. We've got MPO. Alex Kinniston has another win. 1 shot over Jacob Davies in MPO.
Nice.
MP40, Paddy Wilson had a win over Carl Ballassini and Noisy Noisen. FP40, Sue Summers had a win. MA1, Tane Thomas, 1 shot over Jonathan Manukas.
Tane Thomas, wow.
Monacaus. FA1, Claire Beatty had a win. MA40, Jason McCormick smashed Briggsy. FA40, Tanya Leanne got the chocolates. MA50, Lotus Kingston
Lotus.
had a 1-shot win over JB. That would have been redly.
That's
red
a
hot
battle.
contested.
Yeah.
Very good stuff. MA60, Kim Holmes had a good win over Scott Caldwell. MA2, Lucas Luoma had a 1-shot win. They're all 1-shot wins. Sounds like it was really
It's like
tight.
a weekend of football.
Over Rain Lanametz. And FA2, Rachel Bunting had a solid win over Jasmine Barr. MA3, Stephen Kirk in a playoff over Gary Paul. FA3, Crystal Goscombe. And MA4, Andrew Legois.
Legit.
And one more. MJ15, Alex Baker. Well done, boys.
Pretty solid. There's quite a few names on there that aren't PDGA. So, yeah, good to see a few people getting out.
Hopefully they won $20 and they can sign up.
Yeah.
Now, Cam, this is one of the ones you might have played back in the day when you were a Queenslander, the Yeronga.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeronga down at Rocklea.
You played tournaments, didn't you?
Occasionally, especially at this. It's more so just a pool than an actual disc golf course.
The old
but-
swamp.
Yeah, but it's good after a few times I had to change the date due to it actually being underwater. They got out there and were able to play. So going through the winners here, we got Bainey with a little tidy win over Paul Phillips. They both shot a 12 under first round, and then Bainey came back with another 12 under. So
Yeah, we got to shout out his round rating. So he had a 10.26 and then a 10.37.
yeah, huge.
Pretty solid there. to win $64.
That's 100 Australian,
Jeez.
100 Australian dollars.
Yeah.
So, huge payouts out at Rockley.
That's a few bowls of muesli. Just leave him alone. Moving on.
It's a month of oats. That's right. Yeah. All right.
MP40. Dom taking the win just by a few strokes over Aaron Kurul. Well played there, Dom. And MA1 was actually a very tight battle. So yeah, Joe didn't have the most tidy first round compared to the other boys, but yeah, played really, really well in that second round and just held it by a one-stroke lead over Alex Tame. And yeah, Luke Robinson also playing very, very well. So that would have been a fun little battle down in MA1 for the Queensland boys. FA1, Sarah Chapness winning by a tidy 10 strokes over Michaela. And then MA40, David
Eamesy.
Yeah, Deems.
It's called Gate. That's the name. Don't ask me why, but his name's Gate.
Oh, you could take that one, Tim. Having another tidy win over Byron Hayes. And then MA50, Brendan Durulu with a tidy win over Andy Stanley. Tanya Beham coming back from playing Masters, beating herself at...
Another win for the TBs.
Yeah.
Well done, Tanya.
Thank you. And MA2 with just a really interesting score from Jack Smith there, winning by a tidy 10 strokes. I think.
Oh, mate, that's MA1
I
ratings
think
there.
If you're in MA2 and you're in the red, that's
Yeah.
bag territory.
Yeah, I think he did mention that will be his last MA2 tourney. So he's
Good boy.
improved hugely over the last year or two. So yeah, well done there,
It's
Jack.
got nothing to do with the other MA2 boys getting their pitchforks out. It's got nothing to do with that.
And MA3, Tim Gill, winning over Declan, and then MA4, Rod winning over Gilbert. And last, FA4 had four players over there with Ash Dooley getting away with the win over Jade. So yeah, lovely turnout down at Rockley.
Awesome stuff.
Can I just say, we've talked about quite a few nicknames, and some are pretty legendary, but I think Gate is now my favourite.
Oh, it's not, I don't know, it doesn't rival Boat, does it? Anyway.
And we've got a few things coming up. There's the Birdie Babes event, Tim?
There's not just the event, there are multiple events, almost one in every single state. So it's awesome to see some Birdie Babes events popping up.
Is this a Throw Pink-esque?
I think it's exactly that.
So for girls only, or
no, girls and guys. They need the guys for the propagations.
All right.
And that's yeah.
So
Can we start again?
So the girls are the guys. They propagate. And where does it end up? What happens after that, Tim?
Talking purely PDGA rating propagations.
I've got something new to talk to Jesse about.
That's amazing.
Can we start a bloopers reel? 'Cause,
No,
that's going to be the first thing.
All right, so
But lots of Birdie Babes events. Go, make sure you get out there and make sure you propagate. And yeah.
nice. So the women get the birdies and we'll be the babes. All right.
Other than that, we also have Olinda, which is a pop-up course in north of Melbourne. And Hopkins Heiser and the Burnie Winter Classic. So a few good events popping up.
I'm pretty excited for Olinda, actually. Melbourne, if you need that championship level course, there it is. There's a space for it. It's got point meter elevation and it's just space that's not used. So do it.
I'm doing no practice. I'm not going to do any rounds out there. We're just going to roll up.
You're just doing a normal.
Well, I'm going back to circa 2020 T-Bone where I was actually enjoying disc golf and just rocked up. And if I shot 950, great. If I shot 900, great.
Sweet. I'm looking forward to it.
And I can read those things again for you, Tim, just to go through in your head and make sure you play really well.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
You need to get on Reddit, mate. Come on.
Bloody Reddit. All right.
All right. Let's hear from the Finn.
We just called to have a chin wag. We just called to have a chat with friends. We just called to talk some disco and to catch up on the latest disco trends.
Okay, and on the pod we've got Chris Finn, which I'm just trying to think, is this the first time you've been on the pod, Finny?
How long have you been doing the show, Paddy?
Well, it took about 4 years to do at least 7 episodes, and then we've been a bit more consistent the last couple. So I feel like maybe in the very early days you might have jumped on, Finn, but then, yeah, not since we've been more serious with it. Is that fair?
I'll say I've never had an invite.
Oh, there you go.
That's rude, mate.
Oh, mate.
I mean,
you don't own the store that sponsors me at all, do you?
he's pretty new to the disc golf scene, fair to say. So give us a chance to reach out.
Yeah.
Do you know, on my list of interesting people, you are on there, Finn. So sorry it's taken so long, but at least it's for a good reason, because we thought, hey, Mr. Chris Finn had a pretty solid win over the weekend last weekend, and we thought, yeah, let's get him on and have a chat, but also to hear about a bit more, also take the opportunity and hear a bit more about Aussie disc golf. But first, let's just whip straight into the Aussie Masters. So we've just done a bit of a recap, but Finny, MP40 in the first Aussie Masters in history takes a 3-stroke win over someone pretty handy in Simon Feasey at 999 rated. Probably my favourite rating there. But Finn came out pretty strong with a 4-stroke lead, and then tell us about how it went down.
Look, it was pretty. The first day, I was pretty confident going in, knowing that I should be taking a few strokes on the first day from Simon, just because I played that course at the Vic Open a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. And I figured if I could get through the first day with a couple of strokes, then depending on how the start of the second round would go, I would be in a pretty good spot to push, because I think Mount Xavier was a bit hard to just get away from someone on. Yeah. So I played pretty solid. I think I was birdie putting on 80% of the holes in the first round, and felt pretty good. You know, that putting, it just comes down to that little fine tuning when you're not playing every day. Mm. But I was pretty close, and my throwing is really good. Like I feel pretty good. Forehands, it's really on point at the moment for whatever reason. I'm not playing that much, but the body feels good, and my timing in terms of throwing feels as good as it's ever felt. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen you play in the woods. That Xavier course is probably there's quite a few holes there that probably mimic a bit of that Mundaring Black. So, yeah, did you feel more comfortable at Xavier with your experience and your kind of shot shapes?
Look, I definitely felt good with the mid range and the putter shots, but I knew Simon's pretty good at that game as well. And no disrespect to any other players, but it was more of the fact that I knew if I could get a couple of strokes up on Simon, at least halfway through the round, then I could match play until the end. And I knew that he would come back because his first day was a bit average. So I figured he's going to come out and, the average of those rounds, he's going to be shooting pretty good in the second round. And, you guys probably haven't seen any of the video footage yet, but even though I think my second round was rated about 975, I laid up probably 6 or 7 putts to match play and not lose strokes.
Very smart.
I was just playing smart.
Yeah, nice. Did so you mentioned as well that you've played the Victoria Park course quite a few times, but maybe it's the first time playing Xavier. How did you like that area and the course?
Is there a little bit of pine lines out there? Kind of reminded me a bit about pine lines.
Oh, look, I think anytime you're playing in the pines, you're definitely going to feel like that. The smell, the trees, the cover.
That familiar clonk.
Yeah. Luckily, not too much. I think that, there's some really great holes. The Mount Xavier itself, like, what an amazing property. Like, I'd love to go to town on that myself in terms of the design and help the boys out to tweak it a bit. But it's beautiful. What a
there's
property.
A new pope, so maybe we should write to him and say, hey, tell the nuns, mate, to not sell up.
That's right. There's like that covenant that's like owning.
The nuns own it and they want to sell it.
Did you have a favourite hole or favourite shot that you did on the weekend, Finny?
Ooh, favourite favourite hole?
Or any like
yeah, I'm
pivotal
not sure.
moment? Yeah.
Oh, look, there was definitely the pivotal moment was, I'm going to say hole 1 on that second round. I had every opportunity to just go for the the eagle putt on the first hole. And that layup there just put me into the mindset, play smart the whole round.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to beat Simon. And the last time I played Simon and I had him by a couple of strokes was 2013. I think I beat him in New Zealand. So it's a long time ago. But I've lost to him in that position before where I had a few strokes on him and just, capitulated or just played silly, not played smart. So as soon as that first hole, I threw a mid-range off the tee and everyone's like, wow, that's different. But it got a ways down there. But as soon as my second shot got through the trees and I was looking at the eagle putt only from about 10 metres, probably even less actually. But I just went, you know what, let's lay this one up. Let's take the 4 and if, that's a birdie. But if you gain a stroke, you gain a stroke. That's all you need to do.
I love that sort of disc golf,
yeah.
bit of match play in the tourneys. Now, Finney, you mentioned 2013. When was the first time you actually had your first PDGA event? How long ago was that?
PDGA event will probably be 2008. That first disc golf event, we're talking 1987.
Wow. So fair to say you've been on the scene a minute. But
so PDGA was available to us in 1987, but it came. There was a Discovering the World magazine, and there was a little cutout that was put your details in, send this off to the PDGA and become a member. So when you're a kid in Australia, a kid in Australia back in 1987, you're not sending off some paper to become a member of something. We were buying discs. But yeah,
fair play.
Yeah.
But
That's cool.
I don't know if most of the Vic scene or maybe some of the new players to the sport really know too much about you. So can you give us a little bit of an insight into your bag and maybe what your main strengths or throws or what your go-to discs are?
Look, I throw a little bit of a mixed bag now. I've mainly thrown Innova since I was a kid because that's obviously all there was. And I had a few discs there which probably were in the bag for about 30 years. So there was a classic rock and an AVR from when I was a kid, and I had an Eagle, a pre-painted Eagle in the bag for a while until, for whatever reason, it disappeared.
I'd never heard of R-Pro until I played over at Pine Lines and I saw Finney whip out an R-Pro plastic. I'm like, what is this?
Oh, wow.
Old school.
Wow, that one's old, yeah. Yeah, but mainly Innova and mainly RPM. So Innova is still my main drivers. So I've got the race, max weight X cows. But then pretty much everything else is RPM, thanks to Simon. I just wanted to support local, and I consider New Zealand local for discs.
Yeah.
So I've said to Simon, I'll throw RPM as long as they're making discs. I'll stay with them and support them, unless the Innova boys do something crazy. I have spoken to a couple of them recently, but I just want to support Simon and support. Like if it was someone here in Australia, I'd be throwing their discs. Yeah. It's just that simple.
I mean, he's a hard man not to like, an absolute beast on the disc golf field. So I tell you what, you always remember when you beat Simon Feasy. I've got to admit, it's always a good day. You've played well. I wanted to ask you as well, Finney. So we haven't seen too much about the Aussie Masters, and the footage hasn't come out yet. But I mean, this is an Australian first to have a Masters only tournament, and kudos and shout out to Jeff Brunsting and the boys from Bespoke who really got it underway. But how did you like
Anthony Pearsall? Give him a shout out.
Yeah, Anthony Pearsall, who was also the assistant, the Ask TD. How did you find the format? How did you find the event? I know there was a bit of some issues with the accommodation going in, which I think stressed a few people out. But overall, what did you think of it?
Look, firstly, I would say there's no issues. I think it was a really well-run tournament, put together well by Jeff and Anthony and whoever else is behind the scenes. Really good homage to all the Aussie Masters players, and there's a few. And I even though I'm 50, I consider myself one of the younger master players. But, some of those old school guys, it's really nice that we're able to create this tournament now. I think Jeff's done a great job. The event itself was beautiful. Jeff runs a good event. He does the hard yards with the admin and getting marketing out and getting people on board to sponsor. The courses, obviously, Vic Park course was already looking amazing. And I think Reese and forget the other gentleman's name from Ballarat did a great job anyway, the team there to get Mount Xavier looking good. T-pads, obviously, there needs to be a bit of work out there. But
Marlon, I think, is...
Marlon.
Yeah.
So Marlon... Yep. Yeah. Look, he's done a great job for someone who's probably pretty new on the scene. Like, the course looks good. Like most course designs, when they happen, they can do with a bit of tweaking. And I think most course designers, I know my first 5 course designs, I would pay money to go back and fix right now. But I think event's great. Right, like such a good event for the future, and we've seen it around the world. Masters events and Masters tours happening with Cali in the US, and it's nice for it to happen here in Australia too.
Yeah. No, that's awesome to hear. It was nice to see a couple of internationals come over there as well. I did see Bob Gentle made it onto the list there too, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty sure I've got a half-naked photo of Bob Gentle somewhere. Maybe I should bust that out one day. But yeah.
Stories with those boys,
Yes. 100 players though, so good to see a pretty solid turnout for the first of many, I hope, Aussie Masters that get around. Now, Fenny, we had a couple of just other quick questions for you as well. There was a bit of a silent change of the guard, in the ADG board, and we thought while we have you here, you've taken the vice chair position. With Jeremiah Flickinger sitting at the chairperson as well. And look, we like to talk a lot about the ADG tour. We're passionate about it, but we also like to talk about that it's not quite perfect. Wondered if you had any thoughts on the structure of the tour, or and if you listened to any of the crap that we harp on about, if you had any thoughts on that as well.
I'll be fair to say and honest. I've been really, really busy personally outside of disc golf. I put my name up to be on the ADG board, and I'm really happy to be back there to just try to get inside the fold a little bit and potentially bring some experience. But I haven't had much involvement yet. I think it was a bit of a quiet changing of the guard, with Luke stepping away, Jeremiah stepping in. Jeremiah definitely is a bit of a powerhouse, really well organised, seasoned entrepreneur. He's a good guy to have in that position. From what I see, he's taking a lot of charge on getting things done, which is fantastic.
Awesome.
I honestly haven't had that much to do with, apart from just turning up to the board meetings, to be honest. Like, I don't like to just turn up and be a seat, but I figured I have some really very busy things happening in my personal world at the moment, so I've just sort of taken that role, I think, this year, is to just turn up and be there and learn and to listen again and not influence as much as probably what I would like to. But, so I can't give you a big insight, apart from the fact that, honestly, there's a great crew on the board. I do think one of the things that I was hoping to bring was to have a bit more transparency about what was happening and communicate that, so that everyone can see what's going on. But I just haven't had the opportunity to have much influence just yet. But I will say, again, there is some amazing people on the board. Like, there really is. Like, heaps of new faces. I see lots of those people putting their hands up to do stuff. And what else can you ask for? I mean, volunteers, putting their hands up, spending time. I think she's probably one of the things that I've learned just from sitting there and listening and watching is I think M's probably done an absolute crap load of organising and secretarial kind of work behind the scenes, even for the last few years. I think that probably
Emily
was
Cameron.
a bit of a surprise.
Oh,
It was a bit of a surprise
powerhouse
to really see. Yeah, I think her influence is probably a lot more than what most people would understand. I think again, even with that, I think she needs to be able to have lots more people to be able to let go of stuff. And then, I think one of the things that, again, I'll see in the future is try to help with transparency. How I run most of my companies is that everyone knows everything. Anyone that's in the company knows what's happening. And so I think that is probably one thing that I will bring to the table. But this year, I think I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there if someone asks me to do something or ask me questions. If anyone wants to learn from any of the experience I've had over 30 years, I'll answer questions freely. But this year is a bit more of a sit back and, just be there.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that everyone knows everything, because the sort of feeling I get from Fergie is that he's got absolutely no idea, just funnily enough. But Finny, that all sounds very exciting. Exciting times ahead for the ADG, and I'm sure we'll see you at a few of the big Aussie majors this year, and we wish you all the very, very best. Paddy might just sneak in with one more question.
I've just got one more question. Is the Aussie Open going to come to the East Coast, and will it back onto the Tour Down Under events?
Jesus, this is just a 30-second question there at the end, Paddy. Well done.
He just has to say yes or no.
It's been discussed.
Okay,
Absolutely.
all right. That's all we need. That's all we need.
Scoop.
That's going to keep a few MPO players, satisfy some hunger for a couple of months at least.
I just wonder.
At the end of the day, it's a bigger event than just to be, happening in Perth. It's just we've been pretty quiet. Me and Fergs have had loads of stuff going on the last few years, and we've definitely not been able to put in.
Tim doesn't do much. He can run it.
Sure.
Yeah. There you go.
Cheeky C tier. No caddy book. No players meeting. Shotgun start. Get out there.
Give a few discs away as a surprise you.
Yeah.
All right.
Put the lines out. Yeah.
That's it. There'll be no OB if I'm running it, Finny. Don't worry about that.
All right, Finn. Thanks for coming onto the pod. Finally, after however many years we've been running it, the big Finn is on. Congrats on the Aussie Masters win in MP40, and we hope to see. We'll have to get you back on again, mate, and hear a bit more about what's happening in disc golf.
They're easy. Thanks to my sponsors.
Thanks, Finny.
See you, Vinny.
All right. Pretty awesome to have Finny on. I'm a little bit embarrassed that we haven't had him on just yet. But hey, better late than never.
I'm embarrassed Fergie's not here to chat to his good mate. Where are you, Fergs?
It's probably been on the phone to him all day.
He's still having dinner, Fergie, I think.
Yeah, I mean, should we have told Finny that's why he wasn't on? No. Anyway, we've got a little bit of a fun game just to finish off because we've talked a lot. But I've kind of created a new one, fellas. If you've ever been on the old socials and flicking through and you see that video that says, hey, tag a mate, well, I've basically brought that to the pod. So I'm going to give you the scenario, and each one of you is going to pick a person who plays disc golf that that is the perfect 100% back them in to do exactly this.
If you want, I can probably tell you what their Instagram handle is. If that,
all right,
I can literally tag them if you like.
All right, tag away. I like this. So, Cam, who are you backing in to 100% throw a disc into the water during a round of disc golf?
First thing that came to mind was Jeff Bronstein, because all I see is him picking up a pee waka waka and just ripping it, and it's going right and just sailing straight in the water. That's sorry, Jeff. I do love you, but yeah.
Yeah, all right, there you go. And
Sean Freeman. I've already tagged Shawnee in that.
Even if the course doesn't have water. All right, Timmy. Who are you 100% backing in to make it onto the Disc Golf Pro Tour?
I mean, we're going with what first came to my head.
Yeah.
Ryan Deere.
Ryan Deere?
Yeah, the Deeros.
Oh, look at that.
Actually, I think I told you nobody. But no, we'll go with Ryan Deere. We're going with Ryan Deere.
All right, Cam?
And I'll stick along the Ryan trail and go Ryan Hart.
Hart?
Yep. I feel if he got there, maybe 6-1 putt per tournament,
so
he could be on there.
You trashed him in one segment and you built him up on the other.
I got to harm and then bring the love back.
Yeah,
so,
the real shit sandwich of podcasting.
Hey, we're not saying win. You can rock up and register as like a 9-10 rated bloke,
true.
right?
We've gone down pretty low on the list before.
Anyone can get a wild card. Oh, wow.
We could have just said Dave Perry, but anyway, we've moved past that. He's already on there.
Yeah, we'll move past that. Who cares about that guy? All right, Cam, 100% backing in to beat Macbeth on one hole, and you get to choose the hole.
Can I choose myself?
Yeah, of course you can.
Hole 1, Old Roughy. Well, it's probably the same hole, but hole 1, Roughy. I think I've thrown that shot like so many times.
Hang on, we're talking about the 40-meter downhill par 3.
The 40-meter downhill that I've aced probably at least 3 to 4 times.
Okay, and you have to ace that hole. You have one chance.
I think I've aced
You're going to ace that hole.
Poor Macbeth putter before. So, yeah, that's in.
All right.
Lock that in.
Cam
forward.
I watch you guys do a bit of like punting and betting. I think I'm putting some money on Paul on that one. But yeah, all right. Timmy?
Oh, beat Macbeth on one hole. I read this the wrong way. I thought you said, who's going to beat Macbeth on a hole? And then they're going to name the hole after themselves for beating Macbeth on that hole. And I thought Dan Frost for some reason. But I don't know. Right. Well, I reckon along the lines of Cam, I could take Macbeth on in hole 14 at Inverleigh.
Hole 14?
Yeah, over the dam.
Oh, yeah.
Cheeky forehand. I've done it a million times. I've aced it twice.
Yeah.
Way we go.
Okay. All right, there you go. Backing yourselves in. I like it.
He was trying to throw a backhand and he'll hit a tree, end up in the swamp.
Nice.
I'll send that in the DM to Paul later on.
Just have that trash attitude.
I just tipped him for Discraft Challenge or whatever, so get it done.
All right. Right, 100% backing in to bench more than Ezra Robinson.
Do you mean Robertson or Adderhold?
Oh, Adderhold. Adderhold. Okay. Oh,
I mean,
Robinson,
he
whatever.
looks pretty strong, Ezra Rob, but Adderhold.
Adderhold.
I mean, there's a clear response to this one, right?
All right. They have to play disc golf.
Ryan Michelle just posted his squats, mate. He squatted 220 kilograms.
And
the bar was bending. If that bar ain't bending, you just pretending, Paddy. That's what I always say.
Well, you know what? If you follow Ryan Michelle, make sure you go out and check that out because he has the camera angle just right.
I did comment Peaches V2.
Yeah. All right.
I do have one. One of the boys from Queensland is a PT.
Yeah.
So, taking that down. I'm going to go with Jack Smith.
Jack Smith?
He's a big boy.
All
He's
right.
got some muscles on him. I reckon he can take him.
Jacked Smith.
Jack Smith. Yes. Suck it, Ezra. There you go. All right. Next one, Cam. 100% backing in someone who plays disc golf that owns more Lego than Gannon Burr.
Why do I have Dill in my head here? Dill Fell.
Yeah, I don't know. I have Fergie in my head. Is Fergie, he'd be a Lego master.
All right. They're pretty solid. Yeah.
He's always playing with his toys, Fergie. Among other things.
All right. 100% backing someone in. Who are you backing in to stick an island green?
Oh, not myself. I don't know. Who am I backing into stick and Island Green? Probably you, Paddy, you lucky bastard.
Oh, thanks, mate. That's
Melbourne
why
celebrates. Somehow I got on there. I don't know how, but you did.
Yeah, I feel maybe Budge. Ryan Budge.
Budgie?
Yeah, it's pretty solid just to make sure he's going to do that shot.
Yeah.
I feel he can put it in his head and just nail it.
2017 Budge, maybe?
Yeah, well, he's pretty busy with work and stuff. Never Tim. I don't think any year of Tim. But yeah,
if it said stick a sand scrape green, then you'd say Tim, but...
All right, and second last one. So, Cam, who are you 100% backing in to miss the Mando?
I would say Sean Freeman, but we've already picked him in enough. Probably me, because I'd probably just go, I'm just going to go for it.
Yep.
And that's the first mistake. That wasn't on the list on Reddit. So,
all right, there you go.
Fergie. Missing Mando. And maybe yourself, Paddy. You don't mind missing a Mando every now and then, eh?
Oh, did I tell you about
Bendigo?
No. Well, yeah, that was bad, and that's on coverage.
Looking forward to seeing that.
But I had an even worse one. I went down to a Deakin League the other day, and we're on the first hole, and I throw my drive. It's on. We started on hole 18, and I've gone way left past, whatever, this tree. I was like, yeah, that's all right. That's good. And Huss was on the card, and Huss goes to me, Paddy, do you know there's a Mando on this hole? And I was like, oh, no. And she's like, yeah, you've missed it by about 10 meters to the left of it. I was like, oh, she's like, no worries. Why don't you throw again? All right. thanks, guys. Like, I really appreciate it. You know, Matt Hill's on the card as well, Mr. Rules. And I'm like, okay, no worries. I stand up, exact same shot. I missed it by like 11 meters to the left. It was so bad. I was like, yeah, okay.
Oh, boy.
That was bad. All right. So, yeah, you can. I'm happy if you pick me for that. All right. And last one. Who are you 100% backing in to shoot under par at Inverleigh Gold?
I'm going to go Bainey. I feel I could count on him if I had to. Yeah.
No, I reckon he'd have a day out there where he wouldn't. Just if you're off at Inverleigh, you're off.
But a lot of people. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm going Dill, though. Dylan owns Inverleigh Gold.
I mean, Dylan could be in a wheelchair or on crutches, and I think he'll still come in under par.
I still remember when we ran the Inverleigh, the new holes were out there, right? The orange. They had the orange layout.
For Dill.
Do you remember when they first brought the orange holes out for the Inverleigh Open?
Yeah.
And I went out there to have my one practice round, and Dylan's retired and injured. And he's like, how are the orange holes? I'm like, yeah, they're pretty good. He's like, are they good for lefty backhand? I'm like, oh, what do you mean? And he's like, oh, my back's stuffed, so I was only throwing righty forehands, and now my right elbow's stuffed, so I'm throwing lefty backhands. I'm like, Dill, take a break. You don't need to be out here slaughtering Inverleigh every day. Insane.
He's going to be one of those, you know, when you see those guys paint with their toes. He's coming out flicking this with his right foot. All right.
He still beat my score, by the way.
Yeah. Well, that. Just quickly, did you want to follow up that question from?
Oh yeah.
Is it worth doing, or should we just leave it?
Yeah, just say it lastly before we roll. We want to follow up. If you send it in,
yeah. Who was it?
Rob,
the
guy from Lambert.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just before we go, we did have a question come in from Robert Lambert last week that we discussed. It was a little bit about MPO and dropping down. And if you don't know, go back and listen because I can't be bothered going through it. But he did have a little follow-up. He said, thanks for the discussion, boys. And he did clarify 3,000 US is the cash threshold per calendar year before a pro can play down. So... Okay. I'm pretty sure that rules out every single Australian.
Well, let me just check my cash for the year, see where I'm at.
But, they would only take 30 Yeronga Memorials.
I think I've got 2,980 to go. But, is that not pretty interesting? Like, could we just drop down to MA1?
Yeah, I mean, we should be doing that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah? All right.
Yeah.
Particularly when there's events that have like MA1 on a separate, like Hopkins Heiser does that.
Yeah.
You can cheekily play both.
I legit just looked at it because on the Saturday is MA1 and the Sunday is MPO. So
I'm waiting for the forecast. I know, Ryan Nicholson, if you're listening, I'm waiting for the forecast, mate. I'm keen to register, but Warrnambool this time of year could be a friggin' igloo, and I'm not risking it.
Mate, that's Victoria.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
it has been 22 degrees though, so it's hard.
It's been good lately.
Yeah, it's been
very good signs.
All right, well, thanks for listening, guys. It does bring us to the end of another episode of The Tee Off. Thank you, Cam Ford, for being in the booth.
So welcome.
Thank you, Timmy.
As always, Paddy.
And big shout out to Chris Finn for jumping on. Appreciate it, mate. Please make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and please send us in any questions or topics you would like us to discuss. Until next time, we hope you get out and play some disc golf with your mates.
So that's the end of the episode. Thanks for listening. I don't know why you're still here. We have to go see our families. Seriously, just go play disc golf.